You are Locked On Coogs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Parker Ranger, Locked On Coogs here, and I did say several times throughout this that Houston has a couple commits in the 2025 class that are kids at academies that are big-time prospects and are going to McDonald's All-American game. And I want to make sure we don't just sit here and dwell on, will they get Koa, will they get Kingston? We need to celebrate the accomplishments of some future Cougs while we're here too. And I don't want to just make this a negative Nancy kind of episode. Chris Cenac, the number one center in America, plays at Link Academy in Missouri, is from North Louisiana, I believe North Louisiana. And he's 6'10", 7'4" wingspan, crazy athletic for a big guy. Very coordinated, bouncy. And by athletic, I mean like that athletic coordination where he moves like a guy that is so much, I don't know, he just moves like a guard as far as the way his running motions and stuff like that are. He's fluid enough to use that athleticism in counter post moves and stuff like that. He's good on his feet. He's got fast twitch, super aggressive. I like watching him attack from the high post, like that 10, 15, even 17, 18-foot area. Great touch, and it's a decent free throw shooter, decent enough that I kind of wonder if that could be indicative of him growing into more of a shooter. Still not there completely yet, but certainly doesn't look like anything's wrong with his jump shot form. Might just need more time on task. We shall see. Tremendous, and this is the most Houston Cougar thing about him, tremendous motor, never quits, always goes for the rebound, always has his hands tipping on the ball, tip, that kind of stuff, which makes him feel like a bigger JoJo Tugler, honestly. I mean, he's that kind of an athlete, bigger in terms of taller. His wingspan's actually almost the same. He's the kind of guy that, just being blunt about it, if he could go straight out of high school into the NBA, he probably does. He's projected to be a top 10 pick presently in the 2026 NBA draft. Again, number one center in the class. Someone in that top 10 in the 2026 draft is going to be a center, right? He went to the MBPA, the Player Association's top 100 camp for the class of 2025, and he was MVP of that camp. They play a lot of, and it's not pickup, but it kind of feels like pickup kind of games throughout that, and he really showed out and showed off. Really impressive athlete. I think what's interesting about him is he committed probably earlier than he needed to. He had his pick of schools. Houston was in on him early, and he was kind of a late riser in the last 24 months in this recruiting thing. He was not the top center in 2025 back in his sophomore year of high school, right? He definitely has worked his way up those charts. That's both a testament to his work and discipline, what he did in Louisiana high school circuit, was done at Link Academy, what he did on the AAU circuit and stuff like that. But it's also for what it's worth, each of those steps you'll notice there's more coverage. People are seeing what Houston saw in him a long time ago, and I think that loyalty is a big deal to him. That's why, and I know that's going to be with the next guy as well. I think that's why he stuck with Houston, as Houston found him early. He thought it would be worth it. Now, I like him a lot. I think he's the best high school version of a prototypical Cougar big man I've seen in a long time. That doesn't mean that he's necessarily as good as a Roberts or a Carlton or whatever necessarily right away, but he's going to push to start at center as soon as he steps on campus. He's just too athletic and good to keep off the floor, like all these guys we're talking about are, frankly. And for what it's worth, I'm not going to get to mention Bryce Jackson from the accomplishments that other guys have that he wasn't necessarily in the running for, but Bryce, Shadow Creek's had a tremendous senior season. I mean, it feels like every time you see his name on the stat sheet, he's getting double-digit points and double-digit either assists or rebounds, high in the other, couple steals, couple blocks. I mean, he kind of fills a full stat sheet, and he's not necessarily in the McDonald's All-American kind of conversation, but we probably shouldn't just leave him off. Anyway, but on Cenac, I'm really impressed by what you see out of him. He's going to be playing on the West team, again, from Louisiana, in the McDonald's All-American game. On the East side, which I don't think made a lot of sense personally, but Isiah Harwell would be a shooting guard on the East team. I don't know that they necessarily divided up actually geographically, but he is a 6'5" true two guard. He is a shooter, and he can light it up from the outside. I can't see a consistent 3-point percentage on him being reported places, so I don't want to misreport, but he can shoot it. What I think is fascinating is at 6'5", with a long wingspan and 185, 190 pounds, he does a really good job of using that shooting to his advantage in other aspects of his offensive game. So he takes guys off the bounce, he kind of slow plays them, he gathers steps, he understands that he can get by guys with the pump fake and go if he's trying to close out on a shooter. And frankly, he also understands the gravity with which he plays with as a shooter opens up other guys if he's, on a fast break and trying to pass the ball or whatever. Like, he's a really, really smart basketball player. Played at Wasatch for a long time, the Wasatch Academy. It's one of these big basketball kind of places they play a national schedule and all that. I also think in watching so he had some kind of big injury stuff as far as lower legs kind of stuff goes. He's fully recovered. I think it's impressive watching his senior film is that you watch him and he's still super aggressive defensively, throwing his body around and stuff like that. And you kind of worry about a high school kid that's had, major knee injury or whatever. Like, will they recover and go have the same kind of balls to the wall attitude? And Isiah Harwell definitely still has that. And so I think that's kind of telling to who he is. Now, Isiah said something when he committed, something to the effect of Houston was in on him early and stuck with him throughout the recovery process. And another kid that Houston found early before the national media was necessarily on him as a high-end recruit, identified, found what they wanted, and the loyalty paid off because this is a kid that lost some interest from some big-time places when he was hurt. And Houston didn't fade, didn't go away. That was a big deal to him. Kudos to the staff for being that committed and knowing what they saw and the kid was going to come back. I don't know that everyone would have done that. So again, props to them for that. Really, really talented class with just those four guys: Kingston, Chris Cenac, Isiah Harwell, and Bryce Jackson. I don't think they're done. Cole Pete, again, is the kind of athlete that if he commits to Houston, you make room on your roster for him. And I do think that there's a chance that happens. I think this has all come up a lot in the last couple of days as far as focused on the 2025 recruiting bit because of that shift from Cristobal to Arizona on 3 to Koa Pete being more neutral according to 24/7 last week and now being warmer on Houston as of the start of this week on the 24/7 site. I think people are interested as to what that means. Obviously, Class 2025 is one we're really excited about and we're going to brag about a lot. And if they add to it, we're going to keep on talking about it here each and every day at Locked on Coogs. So hit subscribe, hit the bell so you know we're live. Locked on Coogs, primary for the Locked on podcast. Now is your team every day. Go Coogs.